This is Chariot.
We are Chariot TV. Mediani Jonathan Mensa Bunsu na ene a straight talk and a chego. In so more than click on the like button, share, subscribe. So subscribe on so yeah. You can go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Just go to Chariot TV on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Now why hit the notification bell and send a bell call live you get notification from YouTube. Now it's with my journey. We're also streaming live on Facebook. If you are watching us from there, you can just add us or follow us from Facebook and like our page and share for people. Send a bell responsibility me. I enjoy Nyoma on Facebook as well. We are also on Twitter. You go to Twitter, check Chariot TV on Twitter, you can find us there. So we are all on social media handles and Bomodena, baby, obetimi so and I would do more. Baby, I will tell you soon. Na echo send a obetimi subscribe or call live particularly on Facebook and on YouTube. Now sweating me. I join in now only yesterday or Sapan. So send me try you did as media Mensa Boots. Then you may a straight talk to me because a memory then a straight talk and a chegu. It's Bomodin Wabaswa or share. We are still continuing with the book of Daniel and visions. Daniel Humano and a D in some. You can help us, brother with my bomber, the air and a drink of first or brown hit on the share button. No? See on Facebook there is an arrow like that. Arrow be share Facebook down comment section inside the whole arrow do just hit the arrow. A bit of pin says a percent share or busa baby a shackle. So click share, it will go to your wall. But I did a boama a call war a bit to me. I'm a mouthful who say, okay, that arrow no a share no. Click arrow no pay and send a back click share na a P abano. I wall button or tab on the phone. Just type at highlights or at followers or at top fans or something like that. We just click all these at no. What at a highlight no select now at followers the no select now and send our hit on the share button and at me send them my friends or more Facebook on your follow and I say your friends in now wow and say also click copy link and which means share or WhatsApp platforms now for it join in. They click the link, it will take them to the video or the feed. On YouTube, same thing. You copy the link and you share to other celebrate from so bit me. I join in or so. Into one more than boy inside bit my boy. Facebook has group pages. You see, click you see down there group pages. You can hit the group pages. No share content. My home from so me. I join in. You but any our pet. See a percent. Yes, you put a sample. It do depend on us. And Anna, yes, jibre. And then I need to make na ye catch up for say share. The purpose need just to get the gospel out there to the people. And then you may know to what the book of Daniel also. When him say so what we are from Yasha episode 1 kakra we are the 17th episode. It means also YouTuber our videos are arranged there like that. Episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, maybe 17 of them. Yeah, 17. Last week, we discussed chapter 8. I discussed chapter 8, and then I twaso or chapter 8. Now, the mini Dijumano, by Shadrach and a minute etia kunuma. I post to put say, the book of Daniel. No, but Shadrach, what do you mean? Come more?
Joe Major so
Now, Pomo.
Apom de nkeye. Aka.
The aka nso beba. The aka beba. My main fa akonya nso ansa na ebi a comment on to talk about your website no. You know say now we have launched a website chariottv.com. chariottv.com. So you can let us know in your comment section. Just drop in the comment section. Na I mean, from here you can just use your browser, search chariottv.com. Na what me alcohol all our content be about charity, is uploaded there. Yeah, the IT guys are working tirelessly to get the thing running smoothly and user friendly. Say about us to be to navigate or nicely. Now wow. You want to give us feedback, things that you think we should change, improve, and things like that. just get us. You can send us comments. In fact, your mail, our mail is info@chariottv.com. Is there. You can send us, contact us is there. But you can also send us email from Chariot TV at chariottv@gmail.com. You can also send us email from there. Now, chariottv@gmail.com, or you can send us WhatsApp messages. You will see the WhatsApp messages. Now, you're kind and so I'm on a boy. I will send a bear a bit in me. I'm near my at me. 101. But that a quick summary of what. Let's try and summarize what is in the book of Daniel. Let's see, kaka to the point I drew. So chapter 1, what's a brief? What do you think?
Chapter 1, the making and say Nebuchadnezzar akoche nkrofo free Israel edomaba Babylon. In chapter 1 no ba foforo no what they encountered omodi disem ene womo enema omudin omosesa omudin ni ade nti eno no chapter 1 no.
Okay, now kaka. So chapter 2 is where?
Chapter 2 Nebuchadnezzar wasondaye auhu a giant image bia imo ache 4 eno na Daniel enso so omo yes omo epe omo mbekira ase na Daniel baaye na obekira ase na okira ohene se sa image na ohu ye no represent 4 kingdoms ebeba no de no ene the first one, which is the head of the image gold no ono achi no ahini efoforo beba eno nso achi ahini etoso miensa beba ansa na finally the fourth ahini no nso aba na Daniel ka say fourth one nyaba pair sa fourth one no omo time no ena ohun se buo bi firi so bahwe oni na se sa buo no ebeye botan na sa botan na enyine o se hye asase so nyina ama na Daniel say onyankopon ahini a ono beba besi verse 44-45 no onya many pebia. So God is going to establish his kingdom and he will leave it to no man. And on a chapter
chapter 2 no. Now chapter 3 no there.
Chapter 3 no when encrophobi and say sa na tie de ne ohene no dino so ye no omenye image it oye image kese e de ebisi awiase a okan say ne manfo nyina no mote say totrobento abo a they should all bow to the image and worship it. Na Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego womo Jew form Yakov form aba omo contemporary omo nipa no ne enam Daniel so omo de omo nkoto ensori saa ohuni no na jo enam so ema ye che omo de omo kogu ejem ema Nebuchadnezzar dream ni senka womo enhye djorobe but Ishanka Yankopon say jo ye de omo kogu jemu a omo anhye. In fact omo pie bae no Nebuchadnezzar record say omo enho amon enwusie mpo na obera omo jem no omo say a fourth person become one. Nebuchadnezzar say ohun no na ote say onipaba. That is what is in chapter 3.
Okay, so chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. So chapter 1 Daniel Maba, chapter 2 Babylon, chapter 2 you Nebuchadnezzar the first vision, chapter 3 you Nebuchadnezzar the statue we see wa or pay share say Daniel friends and sorry no. What is in chapter 4?
Chapter 4 and Joe chapter 4 was written in Aramaic. The whole of chapter 4. Na report Nebuchadnezzar nankasa ede ema yen say ono Nebuchadnezzar okoson dae foforo. That is the second vision or dream of the Nebuchadnezzar. Na Joe oson dae no o say ohunu niema bi say edua bi si ho na edua ne yetwa na yede band that dear band abo de yetwa no ni kuntunsiri na aka na ya hye se edua no enwo ho na eno na okofre Daniel ebae na Daniel e kire dae no se no na Daniel so obechira say isan say nema na ohun odae no had to do with a year Nebuchadnezzar no. Nti Daniel yeti asese the duana ohun say ye twa to atwene no onyankopon na ma ye twa onu Nebuchadnezzar etotwene. Na Nebuchadnezzar ebedane aboa na wa nwura for 7 years. Na no achi no obesa aba consciousness na wa betena na hinwa so. Na Joe Nebuchadnezzar na Daniel say Nebuchadnezzar to be able to solve that problem, to be able to not go into that trouble no ya yemuye neja abone ye na onyankopon bia obehu mobo na wayiwe free sat bi enemu. Yo Nebuchadnezzar afi pepepe. Nebuchadnezzar me man no so say this is the Babylon I have built. Your Bible say at that moment na no ena obofo be born no Nebuchadnezzar edane eye aboa. Na sa aboa no ena ye kire say enye real aboa say Nebuchadnezzar adane ebi aponche ana odwan. No, na emom ohyase nya some symptoms eye te say aboa na adwen ye ne say onumpo oyaboa ema nitisi abonte ana ori eye enwura Joe.
Yeah, so okay, that is that closes chapter 4. So
Yes.
So yeah, after 4 Bekaya, you do chapter 4, and we skip chapter 5, and we explain that the reason is that the books as we have it in the book of Daniel in our chapters, are not chronological order. Chronological order, between say any this one, it has to be arranged in that in terms of time. Then from chapter 4, we jump all the way to chapter 7. Then we dealt with chapter 7. In your man, what chapter 7? Anna, you call if you chapter 7, Jacob chapter 8. But chapter 7, and you add chapter 8 to it for us to be able to see what is happening.
Chapter 7, no, we move away from Nebuchadnezzar having various visions and dreams. Now, about Daniel nankasa. Now, Daniel no essence daye and those visions, no. In the days Nebuchadnezzar nana. So Nebuchadnezzar is dead and gone. Neba abedi ade. Ena ne nana nso so ne papa nyina edi ade at the same time. Now, sa ne nana no your friend of Belshazzar. Sa Belshazzar yi. Ena Joe, Bible say ne pension the first year of King Belshazzar no. Daniel had a dream. Daniel dream no onya ni na ohun se emframa bi bo ewo eposo na emoa 4 every epumu aba. Na sa emoa 4 no o se de odi kan no o te se jata owo entaban ewo dachi. Do to so emienu no ete se sisire ya owo eye esen miensa ewo nanum. Ana the toso 9 no eye leopard owo entaban 9 wo dachi. Ana Joe the toso eye 4 no eye exceedingly dreadful animal. Wa man description no. Na no na Daniel o kan kwa ase a obechire mu say all these animals no just like Nebuchadnezzar's dream no also represent 4 kingdoms that will come. So 4 kingdoms that are coming on earth were represented by these iconic animals. Daniel say ohun e won dae mu. Na no na obofo no chirechire mu a Daniel say ohwa no ohun say nipa ba efri mununkum ba opinchen the throne of God. No Nyankopon gave him dominion, glory, and a kingdom that he should give to all nations. That is what we see in chapter 7, Joe.
Okay. And chapter 8, no, ani kasano. Last week is a mekaya, imagine kamia. Chapter 8, then chapter 4, no, chapter 7, no, talks about the 4 world empires. Bebano. parallel to chapter 2. And also now discussing the same 4 world empires at Ebebano in different imagery, chapter 8, pick 2 of them and discusses their struggles, how Abaku conquer Abaku, and we saw that
in fact, chapter 7 no close, Chapter 7, apart from say my 4 images in the no, and also catch say 2 of them or church two of them no Nebuchadnezzar there Medo-Persia kingdom no eba be take over, and that was the rape no. That's our rape no, and over chapter 8 oba be kanchiro say a bird no afede ne kings a emu no or represented almost by the animal ram. You can't ram a udwan bema dwanini. It is I dwanini no emeben mienu. Na no na echire mu say the 2 horns no 2 horns no represent the 2 kings rule in the Medo-Persian kingdom, and that has to do with the Persian kings and then the Median kings. Ebeba. So as I said, now chapter 8 is going to give us an image of how the Medo-Persia they will be taken over, and as one kingdom will be destroyed by another kingdom. The entire book of Daniel so far, what we have studied now, Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom and what he was doing in the kingdom, and how his kingdom will be overthrown by the Medo-Persian kingdom. But we're how it's going to be overthrown. And Medo-Persian kingdom, how it is also going to be overthrown. And also, so Daniel Kanchre. And then finally, he will tell us how your friend saying, the Roman kingdom will also come into existence. Daniel there, Joe, it is actually a movie in words. As I say, you are going to read it, and when you follow keenly, it will be like you are watching a movie. In fact, when you play Daniel audio, like the book of Daniel in audio form, either Chi or English, Joe, when you follow the reading in your mind, you might think you are watching a movie because the story is so glaring and is so clear to whoever is watching. And I always, motivate people to read a book and be able to follow us. We discuss it.
Yeah. So I think that now there is no substitute for reading the text. There's nothing like no substitute for reading the text. My professor was they were saying, "Man, read the text." Can I don't know. I might teach you, but read the text yourself. Also, kind. It's also now say, you kind text and also. So last week, we ended roughly around chapter verse 15, but I'll back up a bit and read so that I bit a very good view of what is happening. But instead of making kind, let me read some few comments. I drop it in. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. And you drop it in your comment in the comment section. We normally don't drop questions. You don't see questions coming more. Oh, the book of Daniel and vision. Possibly maybe my church money is so clear and concise on it. But we don't normally see questions. All we see oftentimes is comments in the comment section. Let me read some comments about Isaac Major say watching live. Emami Ibone J and so I say good afternoon, brethren. Emami Echiao. Papa Pascal Yankee. It's a good evening, brethren. Glad to see and joining you again. Jack Kennedy so say watching you live from Germany. Greetings to you, brethren. And Emami Emilia so say good evening, watching you live. Yo, yeah, that's so trying. My main kind kakra. I'm starting from the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse number 5. Now, see, and as I was considering, behold, a he-goat came from
chapter 8, verse 1, no banner, so that people will be able to.
Okay,
yeah, verse 1.
So let me go to verse 1. I'll say, in the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel. after which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river Ulai. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. Okay, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. And I was considering, behold, a he goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. The goat had a notable horn between his eyes, and he came to the ram and with it that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into it in fury with his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with claw against him, and smote the ram, and break his two horns, and there was no power in the ram standing before him, but he cast him down to the ground and trampled upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he goat waxed very great, and he was strong. The great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones towards the four winds of the earth. And out of one of them came a fourth and a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great towards the south, and towards the east, and towards the pleasant land. And it was great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars of the ground, and it trampled upon them. Yea, he magnified himself to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of his transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint saying unto certain of the saints which spoke, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? And he said unto me, 2,200 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And it came to pass, when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold stood before me as appeared a man. So this is a lengthy reading of Daniel chapter 8.
Yes,
verse
chapter 8, Joe,
1.
when you look at what you have read so far, a clear account or projection of what is going to happen, okay, ahead of us. Not us as human beings,
Yes.
but us at where Daniel was sitting.
Okay. So in other words, what the opposite of Chinese said, time and Daniel who that vision, now that scene has not happened.
No.
Has
Don't
not
hear
happened.
somehow or say this is going to happen. What must I say? And yet, idea esidada. It is something that is going to happen in the future.
And
Now, Joe,
before maybe you continue, I think maybe so Daniel saw the vision during the reign of Babylon. That's what idea.
Yes. Until I will say in the 3rd year of King Belshazzar, verse 1. Verse 1 no the canon. So it is Belshazzar's time. And a Daniel ehu vision way. And utie the okan I will say we're going to read the interpretation of that dream no. We're going to look at it. But utie the okan nyinaa is giving you an idea of what is going to happen in the future because the ram will run into the he goat, will run into the ram, and the ram is representing a Medo-Persian kingdom. If the ram is representing Medo-Persian kingdom there, then what it means is say at this time, no, this thing is not happening because Daniel, according to verse 1 in chapter 8, Daniel made it clear, say he is in the third year of King Belshazzar. That is the king of Babylon. And the ram na yakuno no is representing Medo-Persia. Therefore, we are not yet there. But Daniel has already seen what is happening. In fact, Daniel is going to see this up to your friend saying intertestamental period. And that is what you see here or say. So here verse 10 no bana. In fact, we'll start from verse 9 or say one out of one of them came a little horn which grew exceedingly great toward the south. It's Joe. What we are going to see, power Daniel Nedaya was soon, Joe. Ahinie bia ebe pie free Alexander the Great, and today we'll look at it. Ahinie ebe free Alexander the Great, emu ebeba. Out of that one, four generals no mbabe rule no. Bako asefo the south one no. The obeye. It will look at all that, but for now no. Joe, my am breaking it down. That they also die. Die also ye no say. When who say ram be ewo ho. And I say ram no o push it to the westward, west, or push it to northward, north, or push it to southward, south. Now, if we are saying, Nyankopon are arranging north, south, east, and west. So if someone is pushing westward, and the person is pushing northwards, and the person is pushing southward, what does it mean? It means that that person is coming from the east. East assembly no work. But Joe, I wouldn't want to conjecture and say whatever I think it is to you. I want you to read it for yourself. Okay. Now, who read it, Joe? About ama whoever is watching no or better say, free verse 17. Now there. The same book now, the same chapter now, and obey explaining. We are going to stay in the chapter and you see what I'm talking about.
So before I read verse, I mean kind verse 16 So verse 16 is and I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called us, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near me where I stood, and where he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Okay. Now, as he was speaking to me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. And he touched me and set me up straight or upright. Okay. He set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation. For it
and on say Daniel say ohun vision na ne ho pono ohun say obi begina ne nchen no ote say obi kan kire Gabriel say Gabriel make this man understand what he is saying. So angel Gabriel then came to Daniel in the dream. And ọba ne nkyɛn no Daniel ebuahwe ɛna opagya Daniel gyina hɔ ade no me ba bɛkyerɛ wo so wa collapse into how can I tell you into a collapse ɛna ɛma no so gyina hɔ sɛ masa ɛnya ha na wo be collapse you need to know this then I'll say I'm going to explain these things to you afei ɛtoa so verse 20 and I'll start to say ochirem and I'll say
was it the ram which thou saw?
We say the reason why we share, whoever is watching now, you need to share and you need to tag your friends and all that and say, this is where SD4, any charismatic for any church, any who be brave. But Daniel say, I don't know who you know. So it's not like Daniel just talked about the things that were going to happen and did not explain it. I don't know how to make an answer. So you cannot just conjecture something, think about something, and start talking about it. What he said, he explained it. The Bible is its own best commentary. Now let's listen to verse 20. Evan, what's it saying?
Was it the ram which thou saw it, having 2 horns, are the kings of the Media and Persia? Okay.
But the ram Ojana say Ojina Hon or representing the kings.
The kings.
Kings. Ahim for Omubeba a year Media any Persia. What did I say? This okay, yeah, kind about the ram, or say the ram not having 2 horns, and one horns was bigger than the other. Okay. And to a Medo Persia for Joe, sir, Daniel come show our ocean. Daniel and some way our can. Joe, they happened 150 years after say Isaiah Ukro. After Isaiah can Ashem Koma Ukono. Ena obeka sa ansem we. Ena sa ansem we nyina besi. Nanso na Isaiah di kan se ebesi. Ene ye bekan. Yanko animai. Enti Odwan no represent the kings of the Medians and the Persians. To asoma me.
And the rough, many translation is rough. Or is it the rough or other translation we say shaggy. Shaggy goat. What the name shaggy on?
Maybe the male goat.
Okay, maybe you know, or the some Ibisha said it can be shaggy or rough goat. Is the king of the Grecia.
But
yeah,
the Bible is its own best commentary. I will keep saying this throughout this lesson. And I know what he's a mekasa. Me patch say Bible no ono our children. You don't need somebody to go into a room. No, a question shall no BB, no a conjecture, no there. But no, the Bible is saying he go to no o free a chira obe woso ram no odwani na obe pim aponche na obe pim odwani no odwani de wa kire say eye Medo Persia ahemfo no a ena ram na ono he go to no be pim ram no Abrechere Berman, and also a day.
Or Persia, a Greece for him. The king of the Grecia.
Yes, the king of the Grecian. And also the large horn. Now, Joe, my mama for Nimbi, and Sunday at Wasso. Joe, a punching, now maybe it's in him.
A punching, send it's in a pumpkin.
It's your you say,
yes.
A poncha bembe in Sinaha.
Yeah, in Sinaha. No, it doesn't.
And I have back open is your.
Yeah.
So this is telling you, say, Sa ponchi we were different. Sa ponchi we na bebe ne back open and it's Sinaha. And it represents how strong this animal is. And on Bible na kire ne ho ase no we no say the large what?
Was it the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king?
What here? Enti abebe na o se etua oba akope no. Eno no so de be war. The your friend is saying the ram no.
Mm-hmm.
Ram no ene Medo-Persia ahemfo.
Mm-hmm.
Ena o se odwani no abrechire no. I don't know why I keep saying odwani. Abrechire no eye Greece. Eye Greece ye ho amoa. Alexander the Great ahindie no.
Yes.
Ena o se abebe na hu se tua abo na nini ntam no. I represented the about there. The first king. Na jo uni bibi. Se utie ensem a ye kan ya. This is what happened. Medo-Persia for be taking over.
Mm-hmm.
But we are taking over and we will read it maybe next week. Because I'm taking over during the time of a year Belshazzar. On the Daniel so who dream no in the 3rd year of Belshazzar. If we ever come back to chapter 5, where Medo-Persia for be taking over. Now, Joe, when Medo-Persia is no be taking over, you be share near be after more him for no be taking over there, no. But there how many person was sharing so say, "Sa dwani ya bebu na hwe ya watch say e ahemfo yi no." Joe, history train say, and whoever is watching, wait me ako Google see ako Google the eken. O de ko Google say what happened between Alexander the Great and the Medo-Persian kings. Joe, the Koban say Alexander the Great in Ankasano. Na omo ahenie ni nyina na hye eye wiase ahenie a eye Medo-Persia fo ne di so. Ena ne papa started say o mobilizing crofo ama wo mo nso abuild omo a kingdom no. Macedonia. It's Macedonia no eye the capital of Greece. Sa Macedonia no and all country and say ne papa history na make country you Alexander the Great ne papa started so building up kingdom no na jo building na amfa ena owi ena omo man ne ba Alexander bedi ade so no bedi ade no ena ono started say or build kingdom no or expand it. It's the only kingdom one Joe or take you over a better more non so Abaye the greatest kingdom in the world no was the Medo-Persian kingdom. But at that time now Medo-Persian kingdom no has become so weak. They were wealthy all right, but they had become weak. Joseph Kaya in the book of Nehemiah. What brand Nehemiah be build the war no area na there no ye.
About the war
Around the
temple. Yeah, I think he went back to the
yes. Osako back. Sa ohene na okọ back to no. Na ne time no ba no nyina no. The kingdom started becoming weak. So they no musi strong no they became weak.
Hold on right there for some time. Let me clarify something. I think that it's best we put these things so that we are for being clear understanding. Take for instance the book of Esther. The entire book of Esther happened in a Persian time.
Yes.
So Daniel Humano in Comsha Daniel Sero. Etra Nioma Ocean come etra the book of Esther.
Etra the book of Esther, etra the book of Ezra, etra the book of First and Second Chronicles, etra the book of Nehemiah. What I say, Joe, so I would say the air can I say, this is Daniel. As at this time, no, bear somewhere around Jeremiah chapter 46 ever.
Okay.
What did I say? Jeremiah chapter 2.
So that I was at this time period, no.
That
Not
time one,
Jeremiah,
Daniel can same way, no.
not Jeremiah with Jerusalem.
Jeremiah with Jerusalem.
Okay.
So I said, so people need to see it. May I say this way, but let me give you the picture. On say somewhere in Jeremiah 25, no Urban. That is when Nebuchadnezzar Marco conquer Babylon, Jerusalem. And on my four boys in a free. Your friend saying, Jerusalem don't about Babylon. So our boys in the Daniel.
Yes.
It is never because from Daniel no bana Jeremiah and Samuel bana everybody in when these people had been established in Babylon. Babylon someone air question na Daniel Eka. Now Esther woman no the ever question Esther woman no ever happen after the year can we because as at the time of Daniel Kasa was say he was in the 3rd year of King Belshazzar, which means say yenyama Medo-Persia for no epen sumpo.
But the point the I'm saying the book of Esther I am for that was they were within
Medo-Persian kings.
They are Persian kings. Good.
Yes.
The book of Nehemiah I am for that was
Medo-Persian kings.
Medo-Persian kings.
The book of Ezra you know so
Medo-Persian kings. So that
thank you.
It just make us say, you see, sometimes you hear books of the Bible no as I say, oh, Daniel Moody is on my commerce where you call. This.
And bad Joe. Mami Vanka will say the book of Haggai, Zachariah, and but Bobo Mami, and all the Zephaniah, your friend is saying, Mami, Malachi.
Malachi, for Malachi, yes. Malachi.
All these things, Haggai, Zachariah, Zephaniah, Malachi are all prophets. Prophesy after they return from the exile. Free and kwasumu by. As at the time of Daniel say no munya. In fact, the obemo abe party or mama ko mukrom krana. Onyama ye ohene.
Okay, but within Daniel time scale now, time span now. And commission I watch,
and commission I watch. When you know happen within the period now Daniel says uncle.
Yeah, that's
how wonderful this book is.
Yeah, I want to do I was in a way. I mean, these things fit in our mind. Sometimes we take things lightly. I'd say Aquabia or Casa or say Samson. Not being said Samson used to tenacity. I mean, what is something this but not being said something yes. I mean, he can't fit it or not being said something. Not being said something will know what time. See, sometimes
no, I'm saying, Mammy corrected Bibi, Zephaniah and cat and woman and cat those brackets, you know, the account on a Haggai and your friend is saying, Haggai, maybe Mammy Mao.
Zachariah, the same time.
Zachariah, Haggai, Zachariah, and Malachi.
Malachi is to the same time.
And the prophet almost happen within the period that Daniel can't answer me, no, because Nancy a penny BC and other books that can be First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and the book of Esther. So we are talking about 5 + 3, 8 books of the Bible. Nina happen within the period now. Daniel says,
perfect.
It is each of these books we can then arrange them. But what I say, Daniel Shen come say Nebuchadnezzar ahinie muno echino ahinie mienu ebeba they will be fighting each other. They did kind of be taking over from Nebuchadnezzar. Ahim for Muguso no dwanini. Na jo woni bibi. Wonim say history kyerɛ yɛn sɛ ahemfo na ɔmotena Medo-Persia ahemfo no. Wonim sɛ jo wɔn mo kɔko a ɛkyɛ ɛhyɛ wɔn no. Wonim deɛ na esi so.
You mean the Persian? You mean the Persian king?
Yes.
Oh, I've not checked that.
Wɔn de odwan abɛbɛn ɛna ɛyɛ kyɛ ɛde hyɛ wɔn ti.
Okay.
Enti na Onyankopɔn hu sie ye enti no ɔma Daniel hyɛ nkɔm sɛ wɔn they are represented by a ram odwani. Enti you can Google it. What was the symbol of the heart na ɛhyɛ Medo-Persian kings no? You see say na ram abɛbɛn odwan abɛbɛn. Na no na Bible say then there is a he goat aponche. He goat no owo abɛbɛn etua na pampam aha. And ono no be taking over. Joe, obi biara wo no. Those who can Google and come back no. And to Google I know am bio. Go and Google and copy what you see and put it in the comment box. Say who took over your friend is saying
who overthrew the Medes and the Persians?
Yes, and the Medes and the Persians, you know, who overthrew them. What do I say? Copy from Google and come and paste it here. Joe Alexander the Great. Now I make sure I say at the time one Nehemiah Eba yina name Persian kings in the so.
In that time to so right from the Bible no kwa kudru Second Chronicles now
yes
Alexander the Great asamo memu though we didn't Daniel who our chichi say oye odwanini
Joe Alexander the Great and who asem my Bible mu because the last prophet or Troy bibino Malachi and the last book where you try in the Old Testament is Second Chronicles.
You mean
let
me clarify something. You mean Alexander the Great the time or by we are here
Old Testament
perfect. I think because the one meant that Daniel
no ne say Bible not describe on say money these are Alexander the Great.
Yeah, yes.
The Bible doesn't mention his name. Say only Alexander the Great, but on mention say he will be the first king of the kingdom of the empire.
Yeah.
But what I say now, the last book of the Bible, no, is Second Chronicles. Joe Yanko Second Chronicles. The last chapter of Second Chronicles, no, all close to book no tier okay.
My main Second Chronicles. Second Chronicles. But there's some I say Second Chronicles 36 at verse number 23, and then the last verse of Second Chronicles. Let me even start from verse 22. I say, now in the first year of Cyrus, the king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, the king of Persia, that he make a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and to put it also in writing, saying, that says Cyrus, the king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth has the Lord God of heaven given me, and had made me charge me to build a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is among you of all his people? The Lord, who is there among you of all his people? The Lord, his God, be with him, and let him go up.
But someone I'm making you pow. Joe, and animal, I will say you'll be excited about the way I am excited here. Daniel, and one kumano name, woman, say the last book of the Bible, no. The second book of Chronicles, right?
Yeah.
And as Chronicles, I can't say at the time when you throw Chronicles, no, na ye Persia for no mutia kunya so a omo ama kwan say yembra na emede
Yeah,
Yebesi
Jew for nko omukrom.
enko krom.
Enkosi Nyankopɔn dan ɛwɔ
Enkosi
Jerusalem no.
Yankopon dan no e wo Jerusalem no. Joe
Mhm.
adentra because in Isaiah chapter 44, Isaiah chapter 45 no. Isaiah shem nkomo to say obo ni din obo Cyrus din 150 years ansa na ebe wo no. Say amama mo hina ye friend Cyrus no. Onyankopon se obe raise no ama na be si fie e wo Babylon de ama no. E wo Jerusalem.
Jerusalem the man.
Enti Cyrus and Joe Bible say Oma Israel for no kwan say omunko no munko si temple no eno na Zerubbabel any Ezra mo eba besi sa temple no mbesi wie no ena Joe omu si no time omu si na no mu jai nisie ena obi ahya ase so osi ne de osi ne fie
Yeah.
omu firi nkwaso mu baaye no obi agyae so osi ne fie osi ne fie no ano ena onyankopon raise the prophet Haggai ena waka kire say sika ne dwetɛ nyina ya me nyankopon me dia and to go back and build the house for me.
Nioma amudi fifi by ananafo asase so ba ya. Mo
Go and build my temple. So that is why Haggai came into the scene. Now, almost see temple no wie ye no. Joe, and na ka war na ye de found. War no, and na obi be kanche Nehemiah at the time or that's all Persian kings and I say.
Mhm.
And I say war no nyina bubu. And na Nehemiah sere o hene no hene no man Nehemiah kwan say omra no me dey.
Omesi
The walls.
Owa to afasu no.
Yes. Ento ono so ba be see war no. Na jo onu no si war no nyina ene de ekoso ewo omu nyina no ena ayi so kyerɛ no. Malachi so kyerɛ ono so ngoma no ede mai. So, it is what I'm bringing your attention on is say whatever vision Daniel is seeing here no, it's in the future. And some of the things that will happen before these things will come to pass, you know. And I'm kind of say some of the Persian kings will come and all that. Some Persian kings, yeah, omu rule ye, no more Israel for crime, more ba omu krom, ebesi dine on the adinina. Womuna Bible so they are represented by the ram, Ojanino. Now, Abuabia, your friend, he goat, Ojambema. Opapon bebe ba akupe ne tua ne tiri so no obeba be pushi ram no so tie chapter na 8 kan na
yeah
oba be pushi no aye ne den
na what say no pasa
na what
tunagu na obi kura ntimi nyine won nsem
na ode ne nan si no so jo say wo de obi to form the nan si no so a kire sen
what defeat no complete
no
yeah
ana Gabriel Daniel say verse 20 no Ram no the Medians and Persians verse 21 no Alexander kingdom no the Grecian empire na Joe Deventi na yeni abrese ade we ye kirekire mu se wutie ye nuanom mo Pentecostals no charismatic no a Joe ome force wa meki Nebuchadnezzar dan na oso ye no 7 kings. What do I say?
Yeah.
Ombe force one making 7. Ombe differentiating between the thighs and the leg, the feet. No more differentiating between the feet and the toes. And I say the toes. And each of them, Biano, that's how they're going to build it up. But Joe, Daniel said, no, it's not true. Because the first king, in the book of Daniel, chapter 8, Joe, how many kingdoms and Daniel Bodin?
Chapter 8, no more. I'm from you.
There be
chapter 8.
Yes. Obahinia miensa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, verse 1 was say.
Verse 1, in the reign of the king Belshazzar. Okay, I get your point.
What I say?
Babylon,
So
the camp of Babylon,
the camp of Babylon for
Babylon for
the Medo Persia for
yes,
and
I get your point.
the
The
Grecians.
Greeks and the Persians, no, say 20. Okay, well,
Exactly.
I get your point. During the time, chapter 8, in Commissioner Washington, it is happening during the time of the Babylonians. That is
Yes.
under the reign of.
During the Babylonian Empire, no.
Yeah, I get your point.
So as I say, that is what you see. Joe, sa obama me kwan yen kyerɛkyerɛ verse we mu kakra. I think say obeka ho asɛm kra in verse 22 no ti obeka.
Verse 22 of Daniel 8, I say, now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nations, but not in his power.
But okay.
Yeah.
And he go to now onuba pushy the ram no away no. Joe pushy ram now away or say it will be broken. So obeka verse 5 no. Or say there's a notable horn. And that notable horn no, it will be broken because of a year break out in internet. 4 horns will rise up in his stead. Now, Joe, now me how Alexander the Great, the kingdom no taking over from Medo-Persians. No, what happened is that Medo-Persians, no, wabra mama ewiase obi akwan so nko no krom, wa pesa otena wa pesa okọ krom no. It continually made them weaker. What they say, into making them weaker, no, and ahemfo no ba na de be ma pe any sika pe ne ade. Enti one of the kings, no, any Alexander the Great soldiers ekokon. Jonah ekun no mu no. What happened is that Medo-Persia for no defeatee the Grecians, no. Almost defeatee Alexander the Great in Crawford. It Alexander the Great in Crawford no called back to Macedonia. It was here defeated on retreat, no. And Ohine ono omubekun ya Persian king no. Ese on twɛn man nkrɔfoɔ no nkɔ gadansa amabio. Nti ɔbɛtoa wɔn. Na hemfo tunufo sɛ no. Ɔsɛ ɔbɛkɔ. Yo. Utie de ɔka na wɔse ɛhemfa na ram no yebu no hweyɛ. Verse 6. Hwɛ de wɔ hɔ.
Verse 6 no. Of Daniel 8, no say, and he came to the ram and that had 2 horns, which was seen standing by the river, and he ran unto him in the fury of his power.
Good. Joe, or say he was standing by what?
Or say which I have seen standing before the river.
River. Joe, when him say Alexander the Great, any Medo-Persian, one more coin, our riverside.
Yeah, I don't know the river. Maybe the river.
I'm trying to get it for you as well. It may say Omo they can find out where did they defeat them. Joe, it was by a riverside. Now, Joe, when they were fighting, no, when Alexander was having about 40,000 men, and they fighting these Medo-Persians. Now, almost 30 years, Persians were able to defeat a lot of them. And Alexander the Great sound call back. Yeah,
and hold on right there. There's a question that I think you can clear it before you continue. Media, I don't forget about. He said what about Nehu. You see, when we were trying to arrange the books for he's talking about Odifo Nehu. Maybe a quick one on Nehu.
Joe Odifo Nehum post exile.
Yeah, Odi Enimukra. Nehu
Ono happen so many years Kranzana Your friend saying,
Odifo ne hunu ma menche adwenya so. Odifo ne hunu. Or Assyria for
"Oh, Petra, Assyria for."
Assyria.
We are talking about Babylonians. It's
Assyria
Assyria
for
for.
Assyria for so Babylon for the be won free.
Joe, me making it clear in Chenkro so that they get a picture. So Assyria for no, or from Nineveh for no. Woman a Jonah eko preach chira omo. Na sa Assyria for no. Omo no ena omefa Israel for nuanom omo northern kingdom no konkwaso mu.
Yeah.
Woman is Assyria for no. In fact, sa Assyria for no starting book is okay ya. Make accurate any rap shaky. Sa for any Assyria for no.
Yeah.
Ena Assyria for no name omo ni na no. Na omda so te bonu ena nehu onyankopon soma nehu esta akomo 81st nkrofo mo koye Jonah nipa odika koye Jonah ko preach kira omo wie no yo 150 years approximately later ena onyankopon soma nehu ena okoka kira omo say prepare to meet thy God. Enti at the time nehu mu kono there was nothing they could do. Because no more ya so dem ma onyame aka ama Jonah beka omo sachira na omo asa akoba it omo asa akoba no Nyankopon say they prepare to meet their God, prepare for your judgment. It nehum ko ka kira omo say omo kingdom no ba wiye Joe, the fulfillment of Nahum kingdom prophecy no Babylon for omo ko to Assyria for no gui it Nahum come shadow was say Babylon for Babylon 2 Assyria for no egu. Enti Babylon for no umbe 2 Assyria for no guye no. Omo na abeche Daniel ne Shadrach ne Meshach ne Abednego do omo akọ saa nkwasum no. Enti Nahum de
ana omo so na Medes and the Persians kabom ebetu Babylon guye. Babylon Medes and the Persians so baby aye keduru aye kenkan no. Ayesua ho ade no. Alexander the Great, na he the Grecian Empire, so anyone with two the Medes and the Persians, that is where let's continue a bit. Personally, yeah, my mama assembly, I read a bit about Alexander the Great. Now interesting, say how details like that, things like happen. History actually and say. Alexander the Great conquer Viasia, why is so powerful and things like that. On the niche say call Jerusalem. You see, Jerusalem at that time, during the time of Alexander the Great era, was price maybe a price. I say so he set his mind towards trying to go to Jerusalem. And as to whether Asuma Mbekeni is true, we can't verify.
You say it happened, yes.
Yeah, in the sense of this, Alexander is told that Alexander the Great Nankasa Sunday. Also, that time of the then. No, who say or approach Jerusalem, but who say Jew for maybe a good gifts. Neoma Chadiana the day, Ebe Shiano. Omodi ewe coming. The man, the Niji. Inti osori fini na mu no osori fini na na so osori ya oya say odin ni chire Jerusalem akon oduru ho ampa lo and behold Joseph see oduru ho na Jewfo asofo bebe shenta difita bebe abba approach no approach na omo de enyema bre no and it is so that the Jews no oduru ho no omo de nyoma man na de no ka che Alexander the Great say owura wo ho asem wo Bible yi mo wo ho asem ya say I can't want some trust him.
Yes. Pause. System we are history country say the Jew for no call Alexander the Great. In fact, Jew for no more dream. Now Alexander the Great was coming to destroy Jerusalem.
Yes.
But that was not the reason. In Tianoba. Joe Mamusa question. If at the time when Alexander the Great, Oba and not Jew for no Jerusalem, what does it mean? Because Babylon found before Mukonkwasum, meboa.
Yes, Yes.
So how come Alexander the Great time, the Jews were at Jerusalem? And on a fill it in the gap now near Cano. It had between Babylon and Alexander the Great time, a Persian time. No, Mama Jew for no crime on one side. Aba back to Omukrum. And until that time, Alexander the Great, Eba Hono, na Jew for another side.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes, sir. Now, Joe, the other was something say, a nipa bi ever Bible yaka say, enya no kre. Alexander the Great in the kingdom, no, different from the wow. But you see, those who were in the book, who were players of the book, no, I can't say, even at the time Alexander the Great, Iban, or Mwanga Sako can't say, Masa, wunye, one of that yes.
The history tells us that Alexander the Great will become so religious. He felt that he is a god because Obi Awoye can want some more Jew for in the out of that Nigian the way of Messiah respect no Buno near the Adina. Imagine class and Master Jerusalem for my day. Oh, you ordinary baby, Ujao more baby as be a so it's interesting details that Daniel is able to see that far and give us details of things that happen. Well,
yes,
I am the Great conquer.
No, my main cancer back say Alexander the Great eba home boom say on kra ne ho asem ya twro e wo Bible mu no ena oma yeko translate Old Testament Bible. He selected 70 men.
70 men to translate it to their language.
So that they almost went to read it.
Yes.
And until you're translating the Hebrew Bible no into Greek, their friend the Septuagint, the Greek version of the Old Testament, Joe.
Yes. So interesting detail as to but
yeah.
Let's pick it up. Let's pick it up from there. You realize that if you stand there, Alexander
Alexander the Great, Aika Krebi, Ravana, Alexander the Great, Echo defeated Persians, your friend Granicus, the Granicus River. So, Kaya, on said Daniel so a shen come no, or shen come who said, Ram no jren so be home. And he go to the Yabufu. Eba verse matter verse 6, and 7,
and he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river. Well, the river here would have meant River Ulayu in verse 2.
Bacho, or see he has seen. One can say he is standing by the river as at this time. Or he has seen standing by the river.
Yes.
So at must say, Sa buana ohun no sa river no river hula no. Sa buana aha to aso.
And he ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close with the ram, and he moved with claw against him, and smote the ram, and break his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. And he cast him down to the ground and trampled upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Joe, so what happened is Alexander the Great in Crawford, first time Alexander the Great was Konibi, and the soldiers the Koi. So they tried to overtake the Persian kingdom, no, and or a lot of soldiers. It a lot of soldiers now retreat here. Then the Persian king followed up. Said, "Maybe as uncle for free, I'm going there to destroy them." And you are not so all chrono. And Alexander the Great in Crawford said, "The Persian king is coming," and so they prepared with 15,000 soldiers, led by Alexander himself. And then Omuchesi sa ohiniya and Omkokuno. It is Yaku Hinena. What happens?
Oma take over
the kingdom. So that is how Alexander the Great conquer the Medo-Persian kingdom.
But let's make progress.
Yanko,
after Alexander the Great conquered, if you read the text, and it was clear that that horn, I horn back on horn. I'm a 4 APA by
4. Yes.
4
four notable horns, no. The generals, no. Soldiers in Penimfua, Omudi Alexander the Great Nechino. 4. 84 no Omuni your Seleucus.
Yeah, the Seleucus. Yeah.
Yes, Seleucus or Seleucus. Seleucus no. Yeah, the first. Seleucus the first. Ebiso freno Nikato. Ono no the first way no. Joe ono na be the king of the Syrians. Into Syria.
So Seleucus no one of the Seleucus, the Seleucian people no
yes.
One of the generals of
Alexander the Great.
no Alexander the Great, the empire now were establishing the Syrian portion.
The Syria part, Joe, the Syria part simply means is the your friends and the eastern side.
Okay. And on this one.
And on this one. What I say? And on no the kings of the Syrians, no. And no, Joe Sancrofono, a honey a beba benya a year Antiochus Epiphanes na asefo no nyina a honor on be free aba. And Cassander.
Okay, so Cassander is also one of the generals.
Cassander is here one of the generals. Into Onono befa Macedonia area ho. Macedonia area ho no. The Europe
maybe
side.
Maybe Greece na Cassander because Macedonia, the northern part of Greece, that region area.
Yes. Into Onono obe pushia kosoro akofa areas like Thessalonica ne that area ho nyina eho ena papa we ono so beko ena Joe ye wo ba ko e frɛ no Lysimachus
or something like that. What was that?
Lysimachus no ono nso so your friend said the third king ono so be the trans. In fact, under him no ono untumi a lot of information so much, but he took over Babylon, so Macedonia side no ebi. And a Joe ya what Ptolemy.
Okay.
Ptolemy no so every year omo take you over from Egyptian side no.
Okay, so let me break it down a bit. Maybe I can on it. What you are saying is that the book Alexander the Great, the horn now, the ram no, no tetia no sukun no, na buye 4 horns na no, were 4 notable generals.
General soldiers are on the free Alexander the Great camp up here.
After Alexander the Great for by 4 of his generals. One of them, the Ptolemies, took over the Egyptian era. Maybe
it's African side
side or not take Anna Cassander take the Macedonian region, Thessalonica, Greece, those area, Achaia, those area within that region, Philippi, that region, or taking over there. Then Lysimachus also taking over one portion of his empire, and the Seleucids taking over the Syrian region. That region, the Alexander the Great in the empire has been splitted for his 4 generals.
But Joe, my main concern is initially, history said they did not really fight to get all these things. A clear, your friend saying discussion, ne understanding omunya say okay, they say your boss or wuko. It yenchep na generals no obi amfa one part no ruling kingdom. So in their mind, it was a peaceful division of the kingdom.
Okay.
But later on, no, and a combe muntem. So utia a year reading or say, then 4 generals now, omube taking over. No, one of them grew exceedingly strong. And then he started fighting the other generals so that he will be like Alexander. Meaning, say, okay, what the American say?
Yeah, so Metuasia, generals no more conquer. They all had their kings. Now, my him for we be there, we be there. So,
generals and him for no.
Yes, the generals not bear him for. So, my point is that after those generals, initial generals, after them, no, there are success or more successes.
Yeah,
yes, one of the sides, which is the Seleucids, no, decided that
Alexander the
Great, trying to unite everyone under him.
Yes,
under his reign, and in that it started war among the generals near that. And it's
exactly.
It started wars about it. So I think it's clear. It's clear from how details Daniel is giving us insight. But something strike me. My main kind now, Abia, you give me your thoughts on some of how these things are working. I say verse 23. No say, and in the latter time of their kingdom, Abra are breaking up now. Kingdoms not spreading. Their kingdom latter time, when the transgressors are come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding that sentences shall stand up. There's a king that shall stand up. It depends which king is that, and if there's a picture of that, these things.
Also, when the transgressors are, a king shall arise, having fear features, who understands. This is verse 24 on verse
24, and his power shall be mighty, and not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
Into this king, Antiochus Epiphanes, no.
Okay.
Into all these kingdoms here, and there's another going to be another kingdom one. He's going to fight the holy people of God. Holy people, no, in reference to who? The Jews.
Yeah, so
he was so kind and said, Joe, of Antiochus Epiphanes, Dada, Ptolemy for no. Say, well, I don't want to fight you. I'm just coming to have a discussion with you. And then Obeko all the way from Syria to Egypt. In fact, Egypt for no crown man, baby, say you stay here whilst you are here so that we can have a peaceful discussion and all that. And then he find a way to overcome the Ptolemies and took over. It's also verse 25. How he will use cunning way to find his way into the Egyptians. What they are saying now, Joe. The Bible will talk about it. In fact, verse 25.
Verse 25 for say, and through his policy, he caused craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, and he shall be broken without hand.
What here? Ain't it? Maybe say and take maybe another time to talk about how Antiochus Epiphanes will die. He will die without Obia Achichireno.
Yeah.
Like and you'll be no. What I say? Ain't Antiochus Epiphanes wants them and all can say after all these kings in Ebebano, right? After all these kings in Ebebano, Alexander the Great Chino. Now him for Ebebano. One of the kingdom no ebe kese, and that is Seleucus and Crawford. In Seleucus and Crawford no eya kese no omu descendant ni bi. Sorry, any Antiochus Epiphanes. Ono na jo obeko Jew for no eho a ode pick.
Yeah.
Eh,
Well, Franco, yeah.
Everybody sacrifice it on the altar, which was a chiwade to the Jews. In fact, I'll force them to um
Offer one.
defile.
Yes. Interesting times about him. I have a book. Let me show you. This is my old one of the books that last time I made a catch on. You see,
Yeah,
Apocrypha no, covers sometimes their period.
yeah.
If you want to
It
read
is.
about Antiochus Epiphanes, you go to First Maccabees. You read about First Maccabees in here. You read about him clearly in some of the things that now
Yeah.
all happening. The story is funny. Say, the point. Say they now can he has of the view. Say now Alexander the Great. Edibiasi in also. That's
Also, person.
also person here the Edibiasi in also. So he's trying his best and things like that. Jew for him penasem, but he called himself Antiochus Epiphany. Epiphany means that the enlightened one. On enlightened. The Jews
But
called him Jews of funny the mad dog.
the madman.
The madman. Oh, Akwana Bodam. And
Oh, yeah,
Jew
Papa.
Jew Bono, I think it when one of his encounter new man and assembly by Jerusalem said, hey, Antiochus. I mean, the Jews were celebrating and jubilating and things like that. And out of celebrating and jubilating and things, you know, and Antiochus eba Jerusalem. All of a sudden, over Jerusalem now, omo ye sort of omani aji jubilating there. Akwane no be say same ye na omo ye no. The history tells us that he got so furious in himself that these people celebrating against me death. So he thought in himself, what can I do to really get these Jews to remember me and deal with them, Ankasa?
Yeah.
Then he set up, said, I'll force them to offer swine on their altar. I'll force them to stop the evening and the morning sacrifices. I'll build altars of pagan gods. Oh, baby, almost sorry, me, baby, almost do for the best in my bay. I'll send soldiers to their little their villages, baby, a Jew for no, as well as the going now, soldiers or not Jew for no, I'll fast swine flesh on their altar to praise their deity near their day. And the Jews didn't like that. So if you read the story in Maccabees, one of his official generals enter one little town called Modin or enter, and when he entered there, Anna Okohun, a priest, a Jewish priest, Matthias, now also that town. And the story is told that he commanded him to offer swine flesh on the altar, which he didn't. And one of the priests and then horse also offer swine. Anna my Matanaya Chinse can Okuno, and Okun officer no. Anna Matanaya name ma estati a raise an army. Iju for no Kenya almost said, let us fight Antiochus. But Matanaya now we and an eba ebeteki over Neba was John Maccabees. And that brought about the Maccabean revolt. History is talking about so much. Say it caused that they destroyed the Neomana Antiochus Epiphanes area, or they say Jew for no sooner that day. Antiochus was defeated and he left.
Yeah, so Daniel and Commissioner, he brings it even to that time. Is it not wonderful? So, in fact, chapter 8, chapter 9, 10, and 11, it is going to even go more. We're going to read about Yesu ba obebani nyina na obeka ho.
Chapter 9, chapter 10.
Chapter 9, 10, 11.
Okay.
Obeka bedru how Daniel Beshan come na bedru when Jerusalem will be destroyed. What I say? 18 no. Daniel commission beba betu Yesu beba akọ na nechi Jerusalem will be destroyed. Ni na Daniel beka ho asem. But baby I bedru no chapter 8. In fact, so me verse 26 to 27 now. Na yema omu picture of what is happening, and then we will talk about what will be happening before Daniel Abeshan come what is going to happen in the future. we are back to chapter 5. Now you share the AC currently. So Daniel is projecting into the future, but we are back to what is happening currently. But as I say,
Let me close the chapter with verse 26 and 27. Say, and the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told, is true. Therefore, shut thou up the vision, and it shall be for many days. And I, Daniel, yes.
Daniel, Gabriel catched and said, Daniel, it's going to happen so many years ahead. Therefore, seal the book, seal it, cover it. Because it's not happening now. Seal the book. For it refers to many days in the future.
And verse 27, they say, and I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. After I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it.
So what I say, Daniel say these things are going to happen in the future. But Joe, you come among for a picture no. Say, may the Persian kingdom, Alexander the Great will be taking over. Now Alexander the Great will take you over. Or no, Alexander the Great will be Owa. The 4 generals. The 4 generals will then rise and take over the kingdom, no, the empire. No. Now, when they also take over, one of them will try to become Alexander the Great by conquering the other 3 generals now. And that one of them is the one who took over the part of the Syrians. Now, Joe, anyone say that part of Syria, no, for no, sir, Persians, no. So it's not like Persia for no money. I want to Syria, name Babylon, that area, no. It's say yeah, and near so and Alexander the Great better take you over. And as I say, no, only hope you yes, I'm trying to it's enumuno and I didn't talk about between Omo and the Ptolemies, Egyptians, no. Now, Joe, the ones who suffered from these wars now happening between the Syrians, not Assyrians, or Syrians.
Okay.
Between the Syrians and then the Egyptians, you know, were these Israel for no. They were Israel for the suffer. Entina, Antiochus Epiphany, or Kokon, Santo Quana is here to say the now can they see, you know. I want to say, yes, and the Jews were jubilating. Meanwhile, also, he was defeated.
Yes,
he was defeated. So he was returned. It will all return. Oba Chamo Jew for no land. So maybe next time we have to show the map. Just a map now. In fact, say Ucho Kakrebia, a Ochiwo. Oh, baby out here and Joe. Ochia Kakrebia, they making. Yes. And a wohono. So found such a mammy. She between Africa and a hono. Africa oh line can 2 minutes on.
Yeah, this
Africa. Debbie. African line.
And
Bacho Debbie Brochi. Aha, Brown Sassio. Good. Once our line can 2 minutes connected to no.
Yes.
Aha. So our line on it, the cost run on it, a for no. Israel for an assassin no.
So
Egyptians no aha. And baby on says say Syria for no. And an infinity no. Israel for assassin no. Ain't no. Antiochus abaha babeko. Amfa. Or san konechi. And okoto say crop Israel for no. Omu jubilate says yes or call no. Yako defeat na menewu. And we don't say me and me na mo wani anje omu jubilate say yeah we and otisi womo so it from then and or time womo Joe or pet say or be destroy womo by even offering abominable things. Joe there's a passage in the scripture. I was trying to look for it. I think your friend is saying First John chapter 2 or so. Now the passage in it say there was cleansing of the temple.
That is John 10:22.
John 10:22 no. Joe, sir, cleansing of the temple no. It was not part of Moses in
Maminkai, or say John 10:22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter.
Good. 80, sir, cleansing of or dedication of that way no was the time when Joe they had destroy the temple no by defiled. I think the right word they defiled.
They defiled it, and what happened was that when Maccabees and his people, soldier was able to stop what Antiochus was doing, and he restored sanity in the system. He restored sanity in the Jewish temple. Restore back in the temple. Then he rededicated the temple to them. So the Jews made a festival called the Feast of Dedication. I think on 25th December, I'm not Jew for no. It is a fashion. But it's not part of a fashion.
Moses yes. I want to emphasize. So for you to understand why they had that feast, is because of what Antiochus did. Antiochus trying to overtake the rest of the world, led him to start, persecuting the Jews and all that. But Joe, later on, he is going to be killed. Not by any human being.
Okay. Yeah.
And then New there was a banter. Still now say but now there was a fight between ne actually for ne a honor sa fight no kosono. You sa fight no kosono. Ena aware sem ne ntokwasem be frefra yeba chapter 9 will take time to talk about it. Enti aware sem ne ntokwasem kokoso na no eno na bema Rome for no. It will be say then a Rome for behu. It time was anamo koso na Rome for so build it omo Eti eno na ede Pompey sabaka na yeka Pompey na Julius Caesar emo ebe kosa ntokwa ibi na omo akokonka to omo beba back no. Then they wanted to then rule the entire world, and eventually it happened. They ruled the entire world. Joe enumu ena ede the fourth kingdom no aye the Roman Empire no so ebeba. So that is how
the chapter closed. The chapter closed there. We have exhausted the chapter. I think it's that what we all stated. But something interesting, as a fortune and so say. You remember? I don't know whether you have heard it, but it was William Miller, SDA for Unipano shares. You know, it was in Daniel chapter 8. William Miller, Daniel chapter 8. I think verse number 14. Is it 14? Yeah, verse number 14. Daniel chapter 8, verse number 14. Sa number na ho. Eno na ogina so ye the calculation.
The calculation.
What they predict say yes, say interesting. So Daniel chapter 8, verse number 14. He did a calculation from here based on this. Did his own calculation and things. I predicted said yes, say October 1844. I think he started with 1843, which didn't work, and he moved it to 1844, and it still didn't work. And it was out of this calculation. And that is why SDA people are more predominant with the book of Daniel. They are people who like studying the book of Daniel, and they like trying to pinpoint maybe a whole future na way, trying to pinpoint that Jesus Christ, trying to use this book of Daniel to be able to tell when Jesus Christ will come again. They use this book extensively for these things, but they have often
sadly, the book was rather talking about when Jesus will come the first time and not the second
time. They use it to trying to stretch it and say that, try to predict the day Jesus Christ will show up again. Oko Wikipedia, they have a great disappointment. There's a section, a blog page in Wikipedia, the great disappointment, where they chronicle how William Miller uses these passages and twisting them and trying to make predictions out of them, but has failed badly. It's time say Christian Asafo, you see Humano, you tears, Huma, Nampon Tremaye, Nampon Treman and Crawford, see Busia, near Tiasie, yet much for. It's high time we sit in our Bible classes on Sundays, in our evening classes, and teach the book of Daniel and reteach it. Send a nipa Busia. Na atro a manfo de church nipa ehunhu nipa na omode dane nipa gidi ebutuo no entini anwie be shada some your final comments and
na wo ho na number na omo e calculate de be can answer no enyina had to do with the time Antiochus Epiphanes is going to come. And John said ubusa say the also said Okan number no asem no ewie verse 23 no can say, and the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their fullness, the king shall arise. So king shall arise, you know. And Jesus asem no all come.
Yeah. And it's not even and it's not the Antichrist asem no all comes to her.
Okan Antiochus Epiphanes and one asem no all come. That calculation of Daniel the mind, Daniel was referring to the time this guy will come and defile the temple. And don't go and link this guy to Christ. In fact, the Bible even makes so clear. Say, verse 25 says, through his cunning, he shall cause deceit to prosper under his rule. It is all the verse 23 by Jesus are. Then how do you explain 25? Say he was cunning and using deceit. That will not sit well with our Lord, and that will be blasphemous. Until Joe, SD4 should see say this has nothing to do with the second coming of Christ, but it had everything to do with Antiochus Epiphanes, who will come and deceive people and find a way to rule over the entire world. But the Numpono, he will not succeed. In fact, the verse 26, and they say, he could not succeed, and therefore what happened? He was destroyed. In fact, verse 25, or say, but he shall be broken without human means. He shall be broken. Was Jesus broken without human means? No. So Jesus Bashar, in fact, it has everything to do with Antiochus Epiphanes. They should just combine history with some of these things. We cannot spend all time talking about history here, but Joe, this is something you can read a whole lot of things. Those historians they am Joe. In fact, Joe, they can search for Josephus in the book.
Yeah, Josephus wrote a couple of books, I think.
Antiquities of the Jews.
Antiquities of the Jews.
I think
against Appian. Or try Antiquities of the Jews, or try against Appian, and I think he wrote a couple of them. So
I'm talking about his book on the Antiquities of the Jews, Joe.
The Antiquities of the Jews.
You see them there.
Yeah, I'll come back to you and pick your final comment. Let me read some few comments that I've dropped in here. Then I'll pick your final comment and we sign off. We have dealt with Daniel chapter 8. And I think Inya Richard Boampon say watching you from who I should say Inya Isaac Tetens say watching you live from Dakuman in South salute you all. Okay. Papa Emmanuel Kwesi Yeboah say good to hear from you guys again. Good to hear from you too. Thank you for the explanation. Say welcome from Sudia. Good evening, brethren. Okay, my kind Emilia Deno. Jack Kui, Philip is watching live from University of Ghana. Great lesson. And you say, Mami Emilia, so they are say, thank you, brothers, brethren, as you say. And Papa Frank Opuni, and so learning from some great historical lessons for Bible prophecy. So, Basoda, your final remarks now, you're signing off.
So finally, the Rebecca say, chapter 7 gives us a vision that Daniel saw himself, and then saw say 4 kingdoms. Chapter 8 gives us a vision of Daniel seeing what will happen between the second and the third empire kingdoms, Niema ebekoso. Anyhow, omo kingdom no so bebe kai say, Daniel, I can't just say Nebuchadnezzar is the first, Medo-Persia will be the second. And then Daniel, I may say clearly, I say the Grecian Empire will be the third. Or I say, and it is in line with chapter 7. I will see who and more for some more for no, and also come once chapter 8, out of a more for now, chapter 7, emu 2, and the second and the third, which is the Medo-Persians and the Grecians, and Daniel spent chapter 8 writing about what he saw about them. But what I say, chapter 9 and 10 and 11, I feel about talking about what is then going to happen with the Jews. Or I say, Jew for no are not a kingdom as of now. It's we're talking about how the 4 kingdoms, 3 of them be 20. Or we're talking about what will happen with the Jews, and then he'll move from what will happen with the Jews to what will happen after these 4 third kingdom, the 4th one, which is the Roman, how they will come in. It's Joe almost then Daniel will talk about admonition and how the people have to return to their homes. But Joe, that takes us to chapter 5. So now we are going back to chapter 5. Daniel has prophesied what will happen in the future. But question is, what is happening currently? Daniel, tell us. Then the course say, what do I say? Chapter 5 and then chapter 6. Into chapter 5, when the Medo-Persians will take over. And at chapter 6, when the Medo-Persians take over now, they will make Daniel one of the highest ranking members in the government. And Medo-Persia for no be beja. Babylon for nankasa be beja. Into omobe come together, no more planning to fight against Daniel. Into omo fight against Daniel, no, and the bell landed Daniel into the lion's den. You didn't go to chapter 6, So, what I want people to know, they say, what we have talked about in chapter 7 and 8, is what is going to happen in the future. But we're going to go back to ask ourselves, say, Daniel, tell us what is happening currently, what is going on. And that is what Daniel will be telling us in chapter 5 and then in chapter 6, Joe.
May I say chapter 5 and chapter 6. So you pardon to me. Your best share you the book of Daniel and visions. We're going back Daniel chapter 5 and discussing what Daniel saw in these times, and that will be great to see. It's exciting studying with you. We did yourself so what's your name, until say you best share you for Vidiani Jonathan Mensa Bonsu. Keep your Bible open until we meet again. Bye-bye.